Oops. All right, can you guys hear me? We're trying something new tonight. Hopefully this will work. Let me know if you guys can hear me. All right, can you guys hear me? Trying something new tonight. Hopefully this will work. Let me know if you guys can hear me. Okay, so we are actually trying something new tonight. Don't want to tell you what it is, but it's a game changer, I think. All right, so we're trying something new. One thing I don't like is the camera is a little bit down because the camera is actually framed for me standing up. And I don't want to move it because I need to leave it, I need to leave it framed for later events. So I just have to be conscious to pick everything up if I'm going to show you something. Good. All right. So we are trying something new. I don't have a stool. I need a stool so I can get up a little higher, lift my table a little higher. It might actually work. Huh. Okay. So anyway, all right. Assuming you guys can hear me, I'm going to kind of go on with that process. So we are actually stream through the big camera, the camera that we actually do to shoot actual seminars and video, and like our 8-step breakdown, we actually shot inside here, which we are calling the, which we call COVID studio. We were trying to figure out how to get all this stuff kind of together and kind of, but it looks like it's working. If we happen to lose this, if we happen to lose this, I've got the iPad ready to go. So if we do lose this, we can pop right back on. But this is actually really not too bad. It's actually a better picture, obviously, because the camera is a much higher quality camera than with the iPad. So good to see you guys. All right, so 7:30. I don't want to. We'll talk a good 45 minutes tonight. Don't really have everything kind of anything kind of really planned as usual. I just thought we'd kind of freewheel it and kind of see where it goes tonight. Some of you are probably getting ready to head up north, fishing this weekend. So curious about what he's got going on there. I'm going to turn my phone off because I don't need it. I had it on to test. Good morning, or evening, Rob Ruckman. I didn't get a chance to come through everybody. A lot of people here already. George James, Frank Galarno, Dave Chevy, Mike Somerville, Johnny Miller. Hi, Johnny. Rob Ruckman, Bob Sisser. Hi, Bob. David Gary Spiker. Hi, Spike. Phil Smith, Harold Moberg, Larry Lee. Hi, Larry Schneider. How are you? Kenny Sparks. Mark Van Kampen, Mike Sorensen. Phil Bonnell is working on fixing his hooks. There you go. Alan Young. Yeah, it's a much better picture, eh? Clay Carroll, good evening. Captain Todd from New York. Dan Clary, Dean Ashley, Kurt Keebaugh, Rod Harder. The other thing this allows to do, I don't know if I told you guys, but for some reason when I use my iPad camera, what happens is it actually stores the video in the iPad I actually have to delete the app every once in a while to get the um, to get the to clear the memory. So all right. Rob Jones just said the audio is a little bit funky. Is that true? I'm working on a wireless mic, so I'm not really sure. We're hooked up for good. So I'm hoping the sound is actually okay. It's the same setup we use for doing our other stuff, and it comes out pretty good. So if it is funky, let me know. I don't know what I can do about it. And my issue with the going through the internet. So again, we're just kind of trying to see if this works tonight. I've been outside running around all day. Yeah, I know if you're, yeah, it's, but I don't know. I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's low batteries maybe on the receivers, if it's not a good. So I think a lot of it's going to be how you're listening. I think it's going to be really, really bad on a phone. I think if you're on a computer, it's going to be better. So again, we're just trying to see if this works. No, you're right. It is fuzzy. So it definitely is a little bit, the sound is a little fuzzy. So hopefully it's not too bad and we can kind of work with it tonight. Hopefully that's okay. So we're going to kind of see if we can just kind of keep on keeping on, and I'll work on it again. Tomorrow we'll kind of change it. I like this idea. The biggest reason I like doing this, and you know what, honestly, the way this audio level is, I don't need to shout. So I actually talk. Maybe that's part of it. Maybe I'm actually overwhelming the microphone. Maybe I'm actually pegging the mic. Because the way we have it set up is I can talk normal. I usually talk a little louder because I'm using the open microphone on the iPad. So maybe the biggest reason I like doing this, and you know, honestly, the way this, it is a little weird. The sound is a little weird. But the reason I really like this is I can actually record it, actually high quality record it as we're doing. So we can have it forever. So again, I think how you hear it is going to be how your device is grabbing it. It is a little weird. The sound is a little weird. So we'll work on the sound. I'm not sure if, again, it could be low batteries. It could be a lot of things. So we'll work at. But anyway, yeah. Again, I think a lot of it's going to be your device. It's really bad on my phone. It's okay on my. Okay, so Jimmy said, his on Wixom Lake went from bad to horrible. Lost the lake, electricity, and now gas is out and low water pressure. Jeez, tough deal for all those people, man. Yeah, I think it's going to be better sound once we figure out the quality. Yeah, it's going to be a clearer, crisper, louder sound. And once we figure out the quality, we'll figure it out. So, but yeah, just be patient with me tonight. We're trying a few things. I've heard it on my phone and on the computer, and it sounds listenable on both. So I will definitely work on it a little bit. So I may pop in and out over the weekend. Maybe invite 3 or 4 people to a private page I have to listen and let me know. But anyway, so who is planning on fishing this weekend? Before we go any further, let me back up. I made a post today, but I wanted to congratulate the 2 people who won our contest. The answer was there were no wrong answers, but there was a better right answer. And the right answer was, as far as speed, the one thing you have to concentrate on is to do whatever you have to do. So a lot of you said know what kind of bait fish. A lot of you use S-turns, use a fish hawk. I got that. Those are all great answers. But the answer I was looking for was the one thing that you always have to do with speed, and that is do whatever you have to do right. That's what I was looking for. So we had 17 people got it correct. So what I did is I created a random number generator from 1 to 51. So usually what I do is I triple number of entries, so there's more chances of everybody getting a win. And it kicked Chris Cody and Bob Sisler. So it kicked out Bob first. So Bob gets his choice of either the Polarcraft swag bag, Polarcraft shirt, Polarcraft hat, some really cool Polarcraft swag, or the prize pack from Offshore Tackle and Procure. So a bottle of Procure, a couple Warrior spoons that Mike was kind enough to send us for promo stuff, and some releases and guppy weights from Offshore, and a nice little Offshore soft side cooler. So your choice, Bobby, you were the first one picked. Your choice of the Polarcraft swag or the prize pack. That's up to you. Yeah, Lauren did. Lauren took a shot and listed them all. Lauren, I counted you as the right answer, so I get to it at some point. So I counted you as the right answer. So again, Bob Sisler, if you're listening, I'll send him an email to remind him. You get first crack, Bobby, at either the Polarcraft swag package or the Procure Offshore Tackle deal. All right. A couple questions. Good. I like this. Jason Lorenz. Hi, Jason. He says, when jigging the Detroit River, how much, if any, does the bottom of the river matter? Oh, great. Specifically, I've never had success. You are exactly right. So, Jason Lorenz, great question. Gold star question tonight. Absolutely 100% gold star question. This has been a question that very few people asked me over the course of time. No one's asked me this yet this year in this way. So, Jim, I'll tell you what I'm going to do. Jason Lorenz, send me your address to teachinfishin@gmail.com. Jason Lorenz, I'm gonna reply to you right now. Send me an email to teachinfishin@gmail.com with your address. I'm going to send you a little prize pack of plastics. So we've got some new color plastics. We've got some new stuff. I'm going to send you a nice little Detroit package for that awesome question. That's a great question. So here is my thought on bottom hardness. Remember, this time of year, a couple things are happening. Walleyes are spawning, number one. Number two, bait fish are starting to spawn. And most of the bait fish that spawn in Detroit, shiners, smelt, suckers, they all need hard substrate to spawn. So soft bottom areas are usually not productive except where soft areas butt right up to hard bottom areas. That is a key. So Jason, if you're fishing hard bottom area, probably you are actually seeing what you should be seeing, not catching a lot of fish. But if you can find that soft, mucky bottom really close to a harder bottom, and not just muck to sand, but muck to gravel, muck to rock, muck to something very hard, that transition is going to be the best place on the river. I've spent a lot of time over the last 15 years mucking these transition areas. You can see them if you use your Insight Genesis mapping. You can actually record your sonar data, send it up, and they'll actually send you back a map that has bottom hardness, and you can see these hard bottom, soft bottom areas meet. And I have a lot of waypoints where those hard bottom, soft bottoms meet. So Jason, if you're on soft bottom, start working your way. Stay on that soft bottom, but just keep working your way a little deeper, shallower. It will depend on where you're at. If you have side imaging, you'll be able to see those harder areas either shallow or deeper. Find where that soft bottom meets the hard bottom, and you got it. You're going to be in a great spot. But yes, I avoid that soft bottom river because there's not much going on there. As the water gets a little warmer, if you stay in the river until mid-late June, we start to get some catches. Some of the mayfly species actually live in the mud, and you will start to see a transition. Fish will actually use the mud occasionally. But you're right. Mud is not a great spot unless you can find where mud transitions and meets harder bottom areas. That is a key. Great question, Jason. Very good question. Love it. Uh, Gary says you can hear me all the way to Eastern Iowa. He's taking Chris Spiker fishing out of Belleville tomorrow. Good luck. Rain is coming. Yeah, look, next week is going to be a total washout. Yee, yee, yee. So we'll see what happens. Clifton Smith, hi Clifton, says, have you talked to anyone about the big flood? The water in the bay is terrible. There is a Facebook page called the Airborne Angler. And he's got some overhead aerial views of Pinconning and Nipawin, the Saginaw River where it dumps into the lake. It's blown right out. It is brown. It is ugly. It is nasty. It's loaded with floating stuff, and I don't mean stuff. I mean big trees, bushes, docks. I would tell you, really, really, if you're going to go to the bay, be careful. Somebody was out today and found out of Linwood. Said the water is absolute mud. They actually avoided two great big. Said there was a tree in the water that was probably 20 feet long and probably 4 feet around. Just be careful if you're going to go to the bay. I would tell you if you can go anywhere but the bay, go anywhere but the bay. Because remember, not only is all that stuff coming down the Saginaw River and have to dump into the bay, we also have all this stuff coming in on the east side of Michigan, the west side of the bay, or west side of the Pine River, Augrey River, Tawas River. That's all got to wake its way down into the inner bay. Pinconning River, the Penobog Creek, all that stuff is dumping huge amounts of water, ugly water, and lots of debris into the bay. So I could tell you if you can go anywhere but the bay, I would tell you dump the bay this weekend. That would be my personal opinion. So, if you're going to go and you're going to, if you're asking me specifically, Clifton, I'm reading your post. With all the chemicals got disturbed, I wouldn't worry about that. Those fish aren't going to eat enough bad stuff in a day or two to contaminate the meat. I wouldn't worry about that. Okay, so that should be sound. That probably should be better sound because I think part of our issue. Um, I think some of our issue was I had low batteries, so I just put brand new batteries in and everything is up. So I think I just learned that my receiver does something when the battery is low from here. I was watching my receiver and it was acting goofy, then this went out. So Oh, I'm batting 1,000 tonight, eh? Oh, that's funny. I am batting 1,000. Oh, sorry about that. Oh, that's funny. So, so obviously the batteries went out on both my. I got a wireless mic and a wireless receiver. It had been a rough tech week, but you know what? See, Myling, I'm going to tell you something. If you've been over on the Randy Salsa's sound, do whatever you got to get it right. You're hilarious. That's a good one, Randy. If you've been over on the Catch site, I've kind of been chronicling my journey to becoming a better person and getting back to my faith and all that. And 2 weeks ago, this smile would not have been here. No, back up. The smile would have been here 2 weeks ago, but it wouldn't have been real. It's real. I have just gotten so much at stuff. And I did find out, I didn't know this, I just found this out. My receiver and this both have plug-ins. So I can actually charge them. I just needed to find the right cable. So, right, again, this is all new stuff. This is a whole new studio. Doing it static, where I just record, has been easy. This is a new adventure tonight. So there we go. Good. We're back at it. Oh, that's funny. So anyway, all right. So someone asked me a question. You know what? Sometimes you have to fail in public to. It just is what it is, right? It's just funny. It is just funny. So hopefully we're back on. Hopefully we're back and good to go. Adapt and overcome. You know, that's about all you can do, right? We're just doing it. All right. So somebody asked me a question that I lost because everybody kind of let me know that everything wasn't working, which I knew. Oh, that's funny. Jeff Mouse, he had a great day in Lake St. Clair today. I saw his live post this morning. Jeff, let us know how you did. Tom Brown says the river was too dirty to fish. Which river, Tommy? Saginaw River, Detroit River? Kind of curious where you went today. I'm going to assume the Detroit River, because usually if people fish the Saginaw, they say the Saginaw. The river is usually Detroit. So anyway, all right. So where were we? We talked a little bit about lure storage this morning. Jason, please, absolutely not. He says he's sorry for asking questions. Stop. Don't ever apologize for asking questions. That's what this is about. This is a seminar. This is about interaction. So ask away, please. Talking about the bottom again, I've been trying to target big walleye in shallow water. I've been told that's where they are. That is a true statement. All the shallow areas I tried have soft bottoms. That could be true too, which we've just learned isn't the place to be. Are there shallow areas that are as hard? Yes, there are. 100% there are. You're just going to have to fish them and find them. I don't know what technology you have on your boat, but this is where side scan really helps, because you can literally be out in 15, 18, 20 feet of water. If your side scan looking 100, 120 feet to the side and actually see those hard bottom spots on your side scan, mark them with a way, go over there and fish them. They're there. You just got to get in that shallow water and just fish them. I'm going to guarantee you most of the places you fish where it's too soft, you are close. There is hard bottom there somewhere. You just have to find it. Remember, hard doesn't necessarily have to be hard. It just needs to be harder and not soft, if that makes sense. Sometimes hard packed sand is the hardest bottom structure around, and that can be good if that's what there is. Preferably this time of year, we're looking for gravel. We're looking for rocks. We're looking for some other stuff. But if you fish that river up and down, I guarantee you have been close to. Now, and I don't know what you consider shallow. I know a lot of guys on Detroit consider shallow 15, 20 feet. When we talk about these big fish being shallow, we're not talking 15 or 20 feet. We're talking 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 feet of water. So I don't know what your idea of shallow is, but when we talk about shallow for big fish, it usually ends up being shallower than most people think. So don't get to slide in there shallow. So if you're finding, soft bottom and, 14, 15, 16 feet of water and go, man, I can't find any hard bottom, you're not shallow enough. So kind of those two things. Brian says, where would you start looking for bottom compositions in the Detroit River? Drastic depth change. Brian, there are places on the Detroit River that I fish that have bottom composition changes with no depth change. It's just a big giant flat that may be 12 feet or 15 feet or 2 feet, and all of a sudden, boom, there's a hard spot. So it doesn't always have to do with the drop-off, Brian. It can very, very easily be a hard spot on a soft bottom. Not always associated with depth change. Bottom compositions are not always associated with depth changes, that's for sure. Jeff Martin says he caught 12 and 2 bonus smallmouth. Nice. One was 6 pounds. Wow, nice big fat smallmouth. I'm assuming you're talking about the big smallmouth. I'd like to see a 19-inch pound walleye. I'm assuming that's the smallmouth. Mike Gates says fishing reservoirs in Nebraska and Kansas this time of year. Usually fish your shallow. Curious what? Well, so my question back to you, Mike, why not? Shallowest water is the warmest. Walleyes this time of year are looking for places to spawn or to feed. Most of the bait that is early spring spawners, I'm thinking about shiners, I'm thinking about smelt, I'm thinking about suckers, I'm thinking about gobies if you have them. They're all shallow water, hard bottom spawners. So why wouldn't the water be shallow? That's where all the bait is. That's where the warmer water is. That's where they're looking for their spawning area and where they're looking for their food. That they should be shallow this time of year. They absolutely should be shallow this time of year. Mike, if you're new here, this is one of your first, second times here, go to teachinfishing.com, which is our website. We have a TV channel up. On the bottom of that TV channel, there's 3 different channels. Go to the foundation channel and watch the seminar. You can scroll down and find out when it's on. Watch the seminar called Bait Fish. It'll really help you kind of figure this out. Because remember, right now, walleyes are worried about 2 things. They're either they're in spawn, or they're in early post-spawn. All 3 of those calendar periods, or all 3 of those, what do you want to call those, attitude levels, or we call them calendar periods, but all 3 of those revolve around shallow water, where there's food, where there's cover, and where there's hard bottom. So absolutely, you're going to find a lot of fish this time of year. Al Van Broek, perfect. I don't know exactly where he caught his fish. Please don't do this. I don't know exactly where Al caught his fish, but he liked your post, so I'm assuming that maybe he caught his fish shallow also today. So that's important. But that's all part of it. The fish this time of year are shallow. They absolutely are shallow. Shallower than 10 feet without question. That's why I'm trying to. That's why I'm trying to see what Al Van Broek did today. Because if he was shallow, where he was fishing, he probably should have been shallow. He's fishing a reservoir up here in Michigan. We've got shad starting to spawn, and those shad spawn, which you should have in those reservoirs down there. Shad down there are the same as shad here. The shad are going to spawn in shallow, soft bottom bays with old decaying timber or some shallow water cover. So fish should be shallow this time of year, especially in reservoirs. Absolutely, they should be. All right, Steve, I haven't checked my emails in the last couple hours, so we'll see. Corey says also look for changes in bottom substrate size. You're right. different rock size or gravel is a change also. Anything that changes on the bottom, especially if you go from hard bottom to soft bottom, that is a big deal. I'm having an absolute terrible technology day today. I just don't. We had everything dialed in so darn good, and today everything's just kind of took a dump on us. So we're working on it. Spawning in West Nebraska was through April. Then they often disperse shallower back up the reservoir after shad. Yeah, so if fish are still shallow reservoirs, I'm gonna guarantee you got shad in those reservoirs. Shad are spawning right now in shallow back bays, shallow bays, usually sand substrate with some kind of cover, and they usually spawn in 5 to 10 feet of water. They don't spawn much deeper than that, especially if you've got stained water. That's where your walleyes are. They're where the food is, because right now walleyes are they're done spawning. They need to eat. Their first part now is getting recouped and getting energy back. They need to eat. They need to eat a lot. They need to eat often. So absolutely what's going on is shallow right now in the food chain. Frank Galarno said he fished shallow last weekend, 7 to 10 feet. Got 2 limits of big pike. And again, as the walleyes kind of disperse, the pike are kind of doing their thing. It all kind of works together, man. Well, I would tell you this. I'm very comfortable telling you, unless you're in a weird situation, being Detroit River, St. Clair River, you got a lot of current. I would tell you Lake St. Clair, Lake St. Clair, Saginaw Bay, Lake Erie, in reservoirs in Kansas and Nebraska, inland reservoirs in Michigan, Houghton Lake, Mullet Lake, lakes in the southwest part. I would tell you for the next 6 weeks, you don't need to fish any shallower than 10 feet. You're going to fish you want to catch. Can you go deep and catch them? Sure. Do you need to? Absolutely not. This whole through the end of June, there is a shallow water bite everywhere. And boy, how much easier is shallow water to fish than deep water? So again, one of the things that we've been fighting for 25 years is to get everybody's mind changed. Right? Everybody thinks walleyes got to be on the bottom. Everybody thinks they got to be on hot. Everybody thinks that you got to catch them going slow with crawlers. Everybody thinks that sunlight burns their eyes and they get active in the sunlight. Those are all false. Those are all false things, right? There are guys I know that make a living catching big fish, either guiding, fun fishing, or tournament fishing. They catch big fish and never fish deeper than 10, 12 feet all year, all around the country. You don't need to go deep. If you have shallow water bait fish, especially if you have weeds or wood cover, you're going to have walleyes, largemouth bass, smallmouth bass, northern pike, pick one. You're going to have all of those shallow water all year. If the bait doesn't leave, the fish don't leave. So there you go. Rod Harder said, a good starting point on Erie. Around Kelly's or closer to the reef. I would be closer to, I would be fishing right now if I was on Erie. That's going to go to Ohio. The west side of the islands over to Huron, kind of that, the islands, the west, between the reefs and the islands. So that's about, I think it's about 8230 on your longitude, running up through there. So about halfway between the east edge of the reefs and the west edge of the islands, all the way over to Huron. I would be looking in that part of the world right now for fish. I don't know if Captain Kevin Swartz is on here. He may be here in the morning. You may be able to get a little bit of information on him, but that's where I would be. Do you think the bigger fish have moved east? I think some of them have. I'm going to tell you there's still. I'm going to tell you if you draw a circle around all the islands, North Bass, Middle Bass, South Bass, and Kelly's, I guarantee there's a good 12, 13, 14-pound fish in that circle. But some of the big fish have started to move east. The early spawners, the fish that either went to the river early and came out, or the fish that spawned on the reefs, they have already started their eastern migration chasing smelt. But I guarantee there's a lot of late spawners, fish that stayed in the river longer, fish that are just now spawned, fish that have spawned are still in the Maumee River, just now coming out. Late spawners on the deeper parts, they didn't catch the smelt. They're not found. They're still there. So, yeah, there's still big fish over there. Probably going to catch more medium fish over here, though, east, but you're going to catch more fish. Unless that eastern part, the deeper the water gets, the harder it is to put a pattern together. Because not only can the fish move, anywhere east and west, north and south, they can also move up and down. So the more water you have, the harder it is to find a pattern. The less water you have, the easier it is to find a pattern. So there you go. Frank is talking to Rice. 2 days last week around Kelly's looking for bigger fish. Couldn't find many. The South Passage north of Missouri, we got a 29-incher. And there were some off Mar. Yeah, they're mixed in there. The problem with big fish this time of year on Erie is there's so many not big fish. You have to leave those schools of 4 or 5 pounders. If you want to catch a 10, you're not going to catch a 10 mixed in with 20 to 25-inch fish. It's not going to happen. It's just not going to happen. So if you go through a pot of fish, boom, 20-incher, boom, 22-incher, boom, 21-incher, and you want a big one, leave. Don't stay there. Hope it ain't going to happen. They're not there. They live in different parts of the world now. They're chasing different bait. They want different things. Move on to another pot and fish through those. Okay, 24-incher, 24-incher, 23-incher. All right, you're getting bigger, but it's not what you want. And keep moving. You don't catch those big fish mixed in with little fish. You just don't. One of the biggest misconceptions and one of the mistakes I think a lot of anglers make is they stay on a pot of fish going, well, if we just keep going, we're going to get a big one. Not if they're all 20 inches. You ain't going to get a big one. That's not the way it works, especially on a place like Erie, which is very, very biodiverse, and there is different bait fish. So a 30-inch fish can separate in the bait they want, and a 20-inch fish can find the bait they want, which is different than the bait that the 30-inch fish wants. So that makes sense. So keep moving. If you're looking for big fish, keep moving, keep moving. Jason, can I touch on plastic? Sure, mainly the size. He's been using the twister tail plastic, so the disc worm. They've been absolutely incredible. Thank you. What do you use, a twister tails versus a wind-up worm or a paddle tail? So let me see. Jason, hang on a second here. I'm going to send you somewhere because those are great questions. I'll send you somewhere so I can give you a very quick answer, but I'm going to send you somewhere that you can actually see what you're doing. And if you haven't been, all of you guys that are new, if you haven't been to the Teach Fishing website, please go. Go to our video vault. There is a ton of videos that we have done, and I know that we did what's called a study session on the river, and we did talk plastics in a seminar. That is free. It was a little 20-minute study session. We talked about how I pick plastics and why you need different shapes of plastics and all that. See if I can find it. Let me see if I can find it. All right, so if you go to teachandfishing.com with no G's, scroll down below, there'll be a couple of icons, go to the video vault. You with me so far? teachandfishing.com, go scroll down, click on the icon that says video vault, then go to the study sessions and scroll down and find March Study Session 1 and March Study Session 2. Those are seminars we did on basic river fishing, and I'm pretty sure in Study Session 2 we talk about, I think it's in 2, we talk about the different plastics and why it's important to have each one. So let me see if I can do this here. I'm going to see if I can get a link to it. Okay, it actually plays on the page, Jason, so I can't send you that link, but I can send you a link to the vault, the video vault. So here is a link to our video vault. So again, go here, Jason, and then any of you guys, there's a bunch of stuff there. There are study sessions on trolling. There are study sessions on river fishing. There are study sessions on weed fishing. There are all the interviews we've done and the studio shows we've done with different anglers. Lots of cool stuff there. So go to the video vault, go to the study sessions, and then scroll down to March 2019, and there's 2 study sessions there, Jason, on plastics. Hopefully that helps you. But it is important to have paddle tails, worms, the twister tails. We call that a disc worm, that with the ribs on it and the twister tail. And then we also have the jerk minnow. It's important to have all of those because they each have characteristics. They each have what we call a different fall rate because of the bulkiness. They each back to the bottom, so the same jigging motion, same size jig. The thinner, go to the worm, the thinner plastic is, the faster it falls back. the thicker it is, the heavier it is, either a paddle or that disc worm with the little twister tail holds it up, it falls back slower. So same jigging motion, same size jig, a thin, skinny plastic is going to fall faster than a fat, thicker plastic or a twister tail will. So the fall rate changes. The other thing that changes is what we call fall angle. So really skinny, like a worm, the jig's going to go up and down like this. You start fishing that disc worm, and instead of that jig going up and down like this, it actually goes up, and the current actually, because it takes so long to get back to the bottom, the current will actually push it back towards the fish, downstream. Then you lift it up, then it falls back. Then you lift it up. So you had the fall rate, the speed, and you had the fall angle. Those are different. You have to get those right every day. And we talk about that in that study session, Jason. So that's a huge part of the, you are better off to have the right shape in the color than you are to have the right color in the wrong shape. So having those 4 shapes is huge, and just keep trying them, and the fish will tell you every day what they want. That's a good question. Good question. I like that. Corey Brown, between river and lake fishing, all the jig styles and shapes and plastics. Yeah, we could talk plastic jigs for a month. We could talk for an hour every day about just plastics and jigs, because they all do something different. I spent a lot of time outside running. Thirsty. Here's one thing I can tell you about jigs. I don't care if you jig fish for bluegills or perch or crappies or walleyes or largemouth bass or smallmouth bass or northern pike or lake trout or salmon or steelhead or saltwater fish. I don't care. I'm gonna make you a blanket statement about jig fishing. There is never a jigging situation where a round ball jig should be your first choice. I'm just going to leave it that way. If you ever grab a round ball, if you are jig fishing, no matter what you're doing, I'm talking about a jig below a slip bobber, I'm talking about a jig fishing, a jig to float current for steelhead, I'm talking about vertical jigging for walleyes in a river, I'm talking about casting a jig into the weeds, I'm talking about casting a jig under the mangroves for snappers and snook. I'm talking about casting tubes on a Ned rig or tubes on a or rubber crawfish or whatever on the bottom for smallmouth. I'm talking about fishing a jig with a plastic worm underneath cover for largemouth bass. If you get into a box for any jigging situation and grab a round ball jig, it is the wrong choice. There is not a single application that a round ball jig is your best choice, ever. So I'll make that blanket statement about jigs, and I'll go to my grave believing that. There is not a single time that a round ball jig, if you're jig fishing, there's not a single time a round ball jig should ever be your first choice, ever. So there you go. There's my thought on jig fishing. We make a jig that we think is awesome for the river. We spend a lot of time getting it right. I saw Roy Miller from Fat Boy Jigs. Roy makes a great jig for vertical jig fishing. He makes a great jig for swim baits. An old deal, taking ½ ounce, ¾ ounce, 1 ounce big jigs that are designed with the line tie out the nose, putting swim baits, 4, 5, 6-inch big paddle tail swim baits, cast them up over the weeds and slow retrieve them just like with a crankbait. Very underlooked technique for walleye fishing. Oh my goodness gracious, nobody does it. You better start. Having the Polar Craft home this year, one of the things we're going to do is we're going to try to get a lot of video shot. One of the things we want to do is Dean and I, and maybe Mark Van Camp, and we're back connected. Like to get up to Houghton Lake and do some weed fishing and actually show you guys some of these techniques. Heck, we could even do it on Saginaw Bay in these shallow waters, 5, 6, 7, 8 foot weed beds all summer where there's walleyes. There's never a situation where a round ball jig is your best choice, ever. So I'm just going to leave it at that, okay? So, Jason, I hope that helped. It's a long answer. There's a lot of stuff that I could touch on plastics, but go watch those 2 study sessions and then join us back again and ask questions with that information, and it'll make a lot more sense. Steve says, okay, no round ball jigs. What would you grab on a heavy pressure jet ski? What would you grab on a heavy pressure jet ski? Fish mark at bottom all day till 7:30. Semi-sand. So if I'm fishing a sand bottom, if I want to fish a jig on the bottom and sand bottom, I like football jigs, where the head is actually not long parallel to the hook. It's actually turned sideways. Football jigs work great in sand and muck. They have a tendency, because they are round, they don't stick. They're very easy to slowly pull, and they're very easy to lift. And the way they fall. And if you get the right football jig and the right plastic, it'll actually hook up. I like football-style jigs. That's what they're called. They're called football jigs. Basically, they're shaped like a football, and the lead is actually turned perpendicular to the hook. Those are my favorites in sand, mud, really small gravel. Those are, without questions, my favorite jig in that situation. Corey says casting swim baits is one of his main nighttime casting strategies. See big paddle tails in the fall, 7.5 inch bait without question. Who was it today? I kind of picked on somebody today. I think it was Jimmy Naismith, I think. I don't know if it's wrong. But he said he was fishing. Actually, the bait was so thick, he was actually snagging, 6.5, 7 inch alewives out of the pot of bait. My first thought was, did you put a 7 inch bait on? Do you have a 7 inch bait? That'd be my first question. If you don't, and you're fishing a lake that has 7 inch alewives, you need to select big spoons, maybe even some saltwater spoons, maybe even some thin pike style or bigger lake trout spoons. You need some big crankbaits, shad wraps, that you can get down behind a downrigger or lead core, or whatever or even behind a diver, whatever you're doing, super ships. You need some of that big bait, because I guarantee the fish are eating it. And if they're eating bait like this, and alewives are thick, so a 7 inch alewife is about that size. Okay, please don't catch them with a flicker shad, because alewives are thick top to bottom, right? They're very, very thick fish top to bottom. So this notepad is less than 8 inches. So that notepad is probably about the size of an alewife. It probably trims the corners. So don't do this and tell me the fish aren't biting. Does that look the same? Right? Let me do my artistic thing, because I am such an artist. Corey's going to laugh at this, because Corey is an artist. So okay, so that's a 7 inch alewife, and that's what the fish are feeding. What chance does this have of getting bit? See what I'm talking about? We're going to talk about lure size next month. Our 8-step breakdown is lure size. See the difference? That's why you have to have 2 inch, 3 inch. Yes, thank you, man. Reef Runner 900. That's why you need 3 inch crankbaits and 2 inch crankbaits and 3 crankbaits and 4 inch crankbaits and 5 inch crankbaits and 6 inch crankbaits and 7 inch crankbaits and 8 inch crankbaits. You need them in shallow divers and deep divers. You need them in plastic and wood. You need them. What you don't need is each of that bait 50 colors. You need all of those baits in about 4 basic colors, and you're done. I'm trying to make this make sense, right? Because sometimes it takes a practical experience like that. Sometimes it takes a really bad piece of art. Does that make sense? Right? If that's what they're eating, you're not going to catch them on that. Just not what it is. So yeah, the 900 series Reef Runner is great. Super shad wraps, awesome bait. If you fish a spot where you've got big alewives, I'm thinking Lake Michigan. I'm thinking, and you want to walleye fish, because trust me, those walleyes in Lake Michigan that get 11, 12, 13, 14 pounds, they're not eating 3 inch shiner minnows. That's not what they're eating. They're chasing that big traditional salmon bait around. That's why wind is important on the west side of Michigan. The right wind, a day or two, I don't know if Mark Van Campen's here, but you want to talk to somebody who understands when to go fishing. This guy does. The right wind for a day or two will bring that cold water, will flip the water, or bring the colder water in, bring the alewives in, and here come all the walleye. Walleyes that live in 40, 50, 60, 70, 80 feet of water, you get the right wind for a couple days, it turns the lake over, the cold water comes to the surface, gets blown ashore, the alewives come in, those big giant walleyes come in for a day or two until the wind shifts, and you can load up, but you better be fishing a big bait. You better have a big bait, because you ain't going to catch them on a number 9 Rapala. That's not what they're eating. So hopefully that kind of brought that. And we're going to talk about lure size. Like I said, our 8-step breakdown next month covers lure size. Extremely important. I have a picture. I wanted to try something today too. I didn't. I have a picture. That Duncan sent me. He has a 23-inch walleye in his live well, and out of that 23-inch walleye came a 10.5-inch white bass. So you're not gonna scare fish away with too big of baits. Not gonna happen. In a lot of conditions, when the water is dirty, or the fish are really cured, or they're not aggressive, sometimes big baits are actually the only way to fish. So yeah, Kim said, it might have been Kim, I don't remember who it was. Kim says the Holland Pier heads were chock full of huge alewives. I guarantee you there are giant walleyes at the Holland Pier heads if there's big alewives. Promise you. There are 12, 13, 14, 15-pound walleyes swimming Lake Michigan that nobody sees because these are the kind of days you need the right wind to roll the lake over, bring the cold water to the surface, bring the cold water to the shore, bring the big pods of alewives in. You got 1 or 2 days to take advantage of it, and then the water stabilizes again, alewives disappear, and the walleyes are gone. You have to be on that. You have to understand that timing and which wind brings the water in. How many times have we talked about wind and waves and current? 100 times we talked about it. And that's all. That's just another example of it. You could fish hour after hour after hour for 40 days straight in Holland, never catch a walleye. Night and day, 24 hours a day for 40 days straight, never catch a walleye. You get a day and a half, 18 hours of the right blow, every cast will catch a big walleye. And it all has to do with the wind bringing the right water to bring the right bait to bring big walleyes. That's a huge part of it. Okay? Corey says he had a 24-inch fish eating a standard stick crossways. People wonder why they can't catch 30-inch fish on a 4-inch bait. It is. Sometimes though, 4-inch bait is the best way to catch 30-inch walleye, if that's what they're feeding on. But if they have the option, give them that big option. Steve says the lake, all fish, all species become piranhas at 7:30. They'll bite crankbaits 2/3 the size of them. So, Smithwick top 20. Top 20s are the right size, Johnny. I don't think they're thick enough to imitate those big alewives. You're better off those bigger alewives, big tail dancers. The Walleye Nation, or is it Walleye Nation or Walleye Creation? That big Reaper has a wide body. Yeah, Paul's got walleye, absolutely, on 9-inch believers, without question. And that's what I say. If you fish, where I was going with all that was, if you fish a body of water, especially late fall, early in the season, you better have some small musky baits box. You better, one of the best walleye baits. We don't fish it much anymore because it's really hard to find somebody that wants to just troll all night to catch one fish. It takes a special person to do that, especially in the conditions you have to do it to catch big fish. But we used to troll, I don't want to say too much. I don't do it much anymore. We used to troll Tawas, I'm talking the day the ice went out, the day it was safe to get out. And we used to fish Tawas Bay in south down to the Tawas River, so the north part of the bay down to the river in late November, early December, and I mean days that you had that much snow on the bottom of the boat for big walleye. One of the biggest walleyes ever. I have about 8 walleye over 13 pounds from late March, mid-March, late March, depending on the year, and then right around, all the way up to Christmas time. And we would troll Bagley's, big Bagley crankbaits that were designed for muskie, and they're literally 9.5 inches long. That's all we troll. We would troll 2 18 Rapalas on boards and 2 9.25-inch Bagleys off the corners. And we would literally, we'd fish 3 nights and never get a bite. And that 4th night, we'd have a 11.5, 12, 13-pound fish. Boom, take a quick picture, let them go. But you have, if you're going to do that's all you're going to do. But you have to have the right baits. I don't know anybody that's got, I have a box in my garage that is nothing but big walleye baits. And they are all 7, 8, 9 inches long. Super Shad Raps, the Bagley crankbaits. Because the Bagley crankbaits you can actually troll pretty good on regular walleye stuff. It gets a little bit of pulley. Swim Whizzes, I have some Swim Whizzes in there. I have a few Believers in there. I have a few jointed Believers in there. How many of you guys are even think about that stuff for walleye? Walleyes will absolutely destroy a big bait. Absolutely destroy it, especially in the right conditions. So, yes, you need number 5, number 7 flatheads without question, but you also need Super Shad Raps and a lot of different stuff. And again, most guys don't fish big enough for walleye. And again, next month, Bomber Long A Magnums, yes, but again, a lot of those longer baits aren't thick enough to imitate shad or white. Walleyes love white bass in the fall. Oh my goodness gracious, bass and white perch absolutely love them. Those thicker body baits. There's a lot of crankbaits that are long and skinny. There's not a lot of crankbaits designed for walleyes that are long and have a thick, fat body top to bottom, dorsal to stomach. So you got to make sure you find some of those and stick them in your arsenal. And again, I can't post pictures here. I think maybe that might be actually be a setting thing that can change, that we can post pictures. I'd love to show you some of those pictures. So, but yeah, I'll take it. Maybe if I can find that bounce somewhere in my garage, maybe I'll take a picture of some of that stuff. I have even for walleyes, especially when they get in shallow water at night, and we're chasing them shallow. I don't know if I want to say this or not. All right, this stays here. I used to do a lot of night fishing. I don't do it much anymore. I had an incident where I almost died night fishing, and that was the last time I went night fishing. We used to do a ton of night fishing around here. Little lakes, Lake Nepsine, Lobdell, Hoisington, a lot of these lakes that have planted walleyes that people can't catch them. We used to catch a lot of walleyes at night. We used to catch a lot of walleyes at night trolling musky straight line spinners, so like Mepps spinners, the big ones with the musky tail, trolling those 5 or 6 feet behind the board, like a 1 or 2 ounce weight, like you do musky on Lake St. Clair. Put them on a board 20 feet to the side so you could run it, and we would catch, I'm talking 29, 30, 31, 32, 33-inch walleye consistently all summer in places that nobody's fish existed, trolling big bucktails over tops of the weeds at night. And I'm talking 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock in the morning. I'm not talking an hour after dark. I'm talking night. I'm talking should be asleep night. And nobody believed us. Had a guy that lived on Lake Nepsine. He was a judge here in Flint. He was a friend of my dad's from high school. He goes, "There's no way." My dad's like, "I'm telling you, there's no way." So my dad set me up with him, and he says, "Yeah." He said, "I'd love to. I got to go on a Friday or Saturday because I got to work." So I met him at the boat ramp midnight on a Friday night, lunched, and at 3:30, he caught a 31.5-inch walleye out of Lake Nepsine. A lake at that time nobody could catch walleyes out of it anyway, and nobody knew there were 11-pound fish in there. And it was literally right in front of his house. He's like, he goes, "That's my dock right there." I'm like, "Well, what do you want me to tell you?" And that was on a Mepps giant killer. I think it's a giant killer or a musky killer. Giant killer, the one that had a long blade with a double bucktail on it. So that bait was about that long. And we would put them out. I'd put usually a 2-ounce inline just to keep the angle. And I'd put 6, 8 feet, put a little planer there, and literally run it 15 feet to the side so I could run it inside it. Freaking smoked them. How many of you guys have musky baits in your walleye tackle box? Walleyes eat, guys. If you don't believe me, the first walleye you catch or next walleye you catch, stick your finger in his mouth, close his jaws, pull your finger out, look at your thumb, tell me if that's a fish that doesn't eat what he wants. So there you go. Big spoons. Absolutely big spoons, Brian. Absolutely big spoons. If you're a spoon guy, there are times a year that big Magnum salmon spoons will catch more walleye than a walleye spoon will. We've talked about that, guys. If you have watched the bait fish DVD and you've watched the 8 steps, we cover all that, all there. There are times to fish big baits. And we are into lure size next month. Talk about when to fish big baits and when to fish small baits. We'll talk about that next month in the 8-step breakdown. How many of you guys watch 8-step breakdowns? They're just short little 18-minute, 20-minute shows. There are advertisements in there because we are paid to do those. They're produced in the studio, or now we're here, but they're very produced products. They're very kind of TV show style products. Not a fishing show where guys are out fishing, but a TV, introduction, commercial, block of time, block of content, commercials, block of content, gone. Very, very structurally produced on purpose. How many of you guys have watched those 8-step breakdowns? We go through each of the 8 steps and we talk in detail about that breakdown. How many of you guys have watched them? So sometimes, right, the new guys, it doesn't bother me at all, but sometimes I know some of you guys have been lurking around here for 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 10 years, and this information has been there and you don't go watch it because you just want to ask me the question. I'm very easy to get along with. I love to share my time. I appreciate everything you guys do, but sometimes that gets frustrating because we're giving you the information to go learn in context, so it makes sense, but then you just want to ask me a question on coffee hour I want you to learn. I want you to learn in context. That's why we do that 8-step breakdown. We go to the 8 steps, right? So right now we've been through, again, if you go to teachandfishing.com, there is an icon underneath the TV that says, underneath the TV, so scroll down underneath the TV, there is a icon that has a graduate cap that says the 8 steps. If you click on that, every single one of our 8 steps breakdowns are there. The 8-step breakdown shows we've done, the Q&As we've done, and some of the guest stuff we've done. And this month, the 8-step, we did depth lure last month, and we did lure speed this month. Those are actually on the TV. Those are actually on Teaching Fishing TV, Teaching Fishing TV channel. You just gotta, no, I take that back. They're on the Hot Topic channel. So the lure depth and lure break, 8-step breakdowns are on the TF Hot Topic page, the top channel. They're there. How many of you guys are watching those? We do those on purpose, right? We do those on purpose. And that, I'm going to be honest with you, that's why we haven't done a lot of special seminars, a lot of stuff yet, because everything you're asking for, we've done. You just got to spend some time and find it's there. We've done a seminar on X. We've done a seminar on Y. We've done a seminar on, it's there. You just got to go look. Spend some time on it. Look, I guarantee you, I'm going to promise you, every single one of you is going to waste an hour and a half of your night doing nothing. Hop on the Teaching Fishing Facebook page. Click on the video. Scroll through it. There's a bunch of stuff there. Click on the 8 steps icon. There's a bunch of stuff there. Go through the TV channels. A lot of stuff you guys are asking is there. It's there. Okay? So it's there. It's there. All right. Rusty says the 8 steps, but the 8-step seminar, Rusty, is different than those 8 steps breakdown. So the 8 steps itself is a seminar unto itself. The 8 steps breakdown is a 20-minute breakdown in depth on each of those 8 steps. So it goes deeper. It digs deeper into that. So there's a lot of stuff there. So Jason, again, all of our stuff is on teachandfishing.com. So we have a seminar called the 8 steps. It talks about our 8 steps. It's in what we call our foundation series. So if you go to teachandfishing.com with no G's, TEACHINFISA, got it. He's headed there now. So if you go to the TV, when you go to Teaching Fishing, the TV will pop up. There's channels on the bottom. there's a foundation channel, and all 5 of our foundation seminars are there. The 8 steps, the 5 Ps, pattern fishing, the bait fish seminar, and what we call the evolution of an angler. Those are all there. Those are there all the time. And then if you go down below the TV, actually I take that back. On the Hot Topic channel is the 8-step breakdown for step number 3, which is lure depth. And then there's one for step number 4, which is speed, those 2 breakdowns. And if you go down below the TV and click on the 8-step icon, you'll see the introduction. You can watch the introduction to what the 8 steps are. You can watch step 1 breakdown and step 2 breakdown. And step 3 and 4 are on the Hot Topic channel. So that's all there. And Jason, I see you're a new guy, so get over there. Lots of stuff to watch. Phil says you have a special tool to tease hook rings apart. I'm going to show you what I do. There is a pair of split ring pliers, and they can sometimes be more frustrating than a busted up thumbnail. So what I do, let me find a crankbait here, is I don't use much. What I do is I just kind of slide, you probably won't be able to see it, but I just slide the hook until I get it right on the groove. And it doesn't take much to just real quickly just open it with your thumbnail and get the hook to right in between, and then you can take it right off. So there we go, already off. So yeah, there's a tool called split ring plier that I don't like because it takes 3 hands to work a pair of split ring pliers. But yeah, so there I'm already off, right? So it's in between that gap. It takes just a little bit. You don't have to open up a lot. Use the hook to actually push it open, and just open it a little bit and slide the hook in there, and they come out pretty easy. I change a lot of them just on the water, on the fly. There's times I'm saying, I'm changing crankbait hooks. I got the boat going, I got the autopilot on, I'm zipping across the lake at 25 miles an hour. I'm actually changing hooks as I'm zipping across the lake. So, right, and Mitch is right. He's got to watch the same video several times, and that's why we left the foundation series. That foundation series, we used to chart those. When this whole thing happened and we were getting new people, we're like, okay, we really can't teach guys unless they really understand the foundation. And I'm going to tell you, since this thing started, we have reached probably 500-600 people we never reached before. We probably have 150 of those that have kind of stayed and are kind of in and out. Hopefully Jason becomes one of those tonight. So we made the conscious decision to leave that foundation series of DVDs up for free during this, because everything I'm teaching you, right? So even the plastics or the jig thing or the lure size, that makes sense unless you really understand how it fits inside the 8 steps. Are you guys okay with that, what I'm trying to explain? All right, so that 8 steps is your framework. So everything I teach, or everything we talk about, everything we help each other with, should fit into one of those 8 steps. If you think of everything you're learning on what step does it go, and remember, each one of those steps, below step 1 there is A, B, C, D, E, F, G, right? So every piece of information you get should slide somewhere inside that 8-step framework. That's how you know what to do with the information. Does that make sense, right? That 8-step framework is to help you take information you learn, put it where it belongs, and then learn something on the water, put it where it belongs. Do a thing, catch a few fish, understand what you've done right, understand what you don't know for sure yet, and it gives you a structured way of thinking. That's the whole idea of the 8 steps. So if you don't understand what the 8 steps are, you can't do that. And the pattern fishing DVD walks you through how to go process of narrowing down the 8 steps when you're on the water. So they all kind of fit together on purpose. I think I'm going to brag a little bit. I think one of the things that we do really, really well in a seminar setting is our seminars or our seminar series, when we design anything, it has a beginning, a middle, and an end. Right? So if you go through the 5 foundation series, you watch them in the right order, I would tell you watch them as 8 steps first, then the bait fish, then the 5 Ps, the pattern fishing. If you watch them in that order, 8 steps, bait fish, 5 Ps, pattern fishing. Pattern would make a lot more sense if you watch the other three first. They were designed, that five DVD set, including the Evolution of an Angler, which is just kind of fun. Those four foundation seminars were designed to have a beginning, a middle, and an end. You can watch them by themselves and they stand alone, but together they're better. And together in the right order, they're really good. So the 8 steps first, then bait fish, then the 5 Ps, right? And then the pattern fishing, it'll all start to make sense. And I would tell you, the right way to do it is 8 steps, bait fish, 5 Ps, 8 steps, pattern fishing. And you're on your way. So again, Rusty says, I've taught this old dog new tricks. We give you the information to learn. Remember, I told you, if you've been here for a couple weeks with us, and it's actually been a couple months, you can believe this. We're rolling in on day 60 that we had coffee hour. I think we're closing close to the 60th coffee hour in the morning. It was funny. I was talking to somebody the other day. Says, we've done 60 of these now. I said, I only know anything, so I've had to repeat everything 3 times on my 4th time around. One of the things that early, when we first started doing this, especially if you were new to this, or new to us, one of the first things I said was, so many people come, or they come to a seminar, or they sit down and we talk, or I see them, whatever the case may be, and I ask them, what are you doing here? And everybody says, I want to become a better angler. That's probably 90% of the people I talk to when I ask them what they're doing here. Why are you here? Why are you hanging out? Why are you watching? I want to become a better angler. And if you remember what I told you, my question to them almost every time is, do you really? Because becoming a better angler has nothing to do with super secret bait collars, has nothing to do with invisible line, has nothing to do with fancy electronics or a sparkly boat. It has nothing to do with any of that. It has to do with 8 steps. It has to do with understanding the bait fish that live in your lake. It has to do with the 5 Ps and how to take information you know and make good decisions off the water before you go and reevaluate and change that as you're fishing. It has to do with pattern fishing. As you're going through the day, what do you know, what don't you know, what do you need to work on, what needs to get better. That's how you become a better angler. If you notice, if you watch, you could literally, and again, this is what makes us different. And it's also what does not make us, it's also what makes us not appeal to the masses of anglers. There is enough content in here. I'm telling you, if you watch every piece of content we've created in the last 2 years, you will not leave your computer for 3 days straight. There's 70 hours of content on here. 70 hours of content. And we haven't even to surface. We don't even have the list of 100 tips I want to shoot the next couple days, 2 minutes at a time. There's another 200 hours. We have 70 hours of content. There is not 1 second, other than small little drop-ins, there is not 1 second of our program that's somebody on a boat fishing, because that's relevant. What I'm doing on the boat and catching a fish and going, here's what I'm catching, that's not what we teach. We want to give you all the steps so when you get on the boat, you know what to pick and you're catching fish. We don't want you to think we caught fish on Saginaw Bay and the super secret lure because it's a super secret lure and you go buy a bunch. We want you to understand why that lure works, why it works under those conditions, why you need to be shallow, as I can't remember his name, the gentleman from Kansas and Nebraska, why you need to be shallow this time of year, why your bait needs to be a certain size and shape, why it needs to be at a certain depth and a certain speed, certain action. We want you to understand all of that, then you can go do it. That's what we try to teach. That's why we don't appeal to the masses. And I will tell you, with all humbleness, but with a little bit of bravado, if you follow our system, you will be a much better angler faster and more consistent than the guys who watch fishing shows and try to figure out what lure they're using. Because you will know how to adjust. You will know how to make good decisions. You will know when you're in a bait spot you need to move. You'll know when your bait isn't the right size. You'll know when you need to go faster or go slower. You'll know when your bait needs to go higher or lower. They don't. If they get it, they do. If they don't, they don't. If you follow our system, I promise you, you will be a better angler more consistently than somebody that doesn't follow what we do. I 100% believe that. That's why we do it. And that's teach what we teach. And that's why we only have 120 people at this instead of 1,000. Because people don't want to do the work to get better. Do you really want to be a better angler? It's not about buying more stuff. It's about starting on Tuesday, right? It's about Tuesday for a Saturday trip and watching the internet, watching fishing reports, watching the waves, watching the wind. Where's it at? Where is it now? Where's it going to go? Where's it going to go by Saturday? How's this wind that's been blowing one direction for 3 days going to stop on Friday and shift 180 degrees? That's going to affect the wind, waves, and current where I'm fishing on Saturday. If you get to the boat ramp Saturday morning and go, here we go, you have no chance. The only reason, if you that way, if you go to the boat ramp on Saturday and go, here we go, and catch fish, the only reason you're doing that is because you live here. Because you live and you fish Detroit River, Lake Claire, St. Clair River, Saginaw Bay, Lake Erie, and it's easy. You can do everything wrong to catch fish. That's awesome. How many more fish and how much more consistently you can catch fish if you're in this target environment and start to do everything right. So just, Jim says if you're taking notes, sailors will not get it done. We're different, and I know there's a few. I know there's a few new guys here today, and Jason, Jason Lorenz. I hope that doesn't turn you off. I hope you go watch our content and understand what we're trying to teach you. There will be, guys, time this year is over. We've got some things in place. There will be some stuff on the water. There will be, because there are some really cool things to show you guys on the water. Tuning crankbaits, we have to be on the water and do. Our spread, we really have to show. There's a lot of things we have to do on the water. But you're never going to see us a 20-minute fishing show and go, hey, we caught them on this. You got to go to Joe's Tackle and buy these. That's not going to happen. That's not what we do. That's not our show. That's not our show. Made a conscious decision to not be that guy. So we want you to understand the whys. Why did the bigger lure work? Why did the smaller lure work? Why should I be going fast today? Why should I be fishing shallow right now? There is a reason why. Why do round ball jigs not work? Why ball jigs better in the mud? Why is our thump jig better in current? Why is Roy's jig better casting over the weeds? Why is a weed with jig better if you're going to throw leeches in the weeds? Why is Gypsy jig better on a slip bobber? There's reasons there's reasons all of those are correct. That's what we're trying to give you. We're trying to give you the knowledge to make those decisions so you have the right stuff in the right place. You don't have to worry about what somebody else told you to buy. You're making good decisions based on fact, feeling. That's the whole purpose of what we do. So, all right, we're on the clock. Holy moly. Hopefully everything worked. How has the sound been the last? You have the right stuff in the right place. Still a little funky on the sound. I'm gonna have to fix that. I'm gonna have that a little bit, but is it better than the iPad? That's my question. You guys have been around for a little while. Is the sound better than the iPad? The picture I can't fix if it gets blurry because that's either your end of the internet, our end. I'm coming in and out. When it's good, it's really good. But because we are going live, I have some pretty good high-speed internet here, but it's not 100% what I need to do this consistently. Nope, I never said that, Paul. I've never said you can't catch them because you're fishing round ball jigs. I've said that round ball jigs are not the best way to approach a situation. There are jigs that are better than a round ball. I'm not saying you can't catch them. Not saying that at all. There are just better ways to do it. Bobby Sisler, I saw you. You won. You were one of the winners of the contest. You were the first person I drew. So you have your choice, Bobby, of either the Polarcraft swag package or a little prize package from Tackle, Warrior Lures, and Procure. You're first, so your Paul says he can't catch walleye jigging for some reason. You need to come with me. Round ball jigs might be part of it then. If you're having a time feeling the bottom and staying vertical and you can't really feel, I would tell you without question, round ball jigs are part of that issue, without question. So Bobby Sisler, let me know what you want. You can either send me an email or you can do it here right now if you want. But either the Polarcraft, all right, so he's taking the Procure stuff. Okay, perfect. So Chris will get the Polarcraft swag pack. Perfect. Those will go out next couple days. Yeah, almost 9 o'clock. Hey, yeah. This was supposed to be a short little night, but I look at, I get fired up. I love doing this. My theory is this: if I do this and get you excited, right, and we kind of hit on this and hit on that and hit on this and this, and I come back and go, hey guys, tomorrow we're going to do an hour-long seminar on POP. It's going to cost you $5 to get the code and watch it. You're probably going to $5 if it's a seminar you're interested in. You're probably going to pay the $5 and you're going to watch the seminar. I feel like if I don't do this, I'm just another guy, and you're like, I don't know if he's telling the truth or not. I think this, by giving you some free information, kind of leading you down the path and kind of giving you an idea, I think my theory is by doing that, I create people that understand that, hey, if I spend an hour and $5 listening to Lance, I'm going to get something out of it. As opposed to doing nothing like this, doing a produced product. That I feel that way. Maybe right, maybe wrong. I don't know. Prove me right when I do a seminar. I'm going to charge you $5 to come watch. Unless you're in the subscription service, then it's going to probably be free. So there you go. So Dan says last weekend on St. Clair, rip ball jigs did better than round ball jigs. 6 out of 10. The round ball jigs are, throw them away. Actually, don't. Give them to your buddy you don't like. Let him use them. That's a good thing to do. Tom says, thank you. I came late. Yard work. Yeah, rewind it. You're good to go. All right, I'll see you guys back tomorrow at 7. Appreciate you guys' time. Have a good night. See you back here tomorrow at 7 a.m. It is the weekend. So we'll make a decision. Probably won't be on Monday. I think a day off would be good for all of us. I know I need a day to kind of not have to get up. Monday mornings are one of the things we do Monday morning, Memorial Day morning at my house. I usually don't fish. I very rarely fish on holiday weekends, even charter. It's just there's too much going on. There's too many people. I usually take those off. But Monday morning, Memorial Day morning, tradition. Our home, we have a flagpole in the back of our home, and we have a U.S. flag, 4x6 U.S. flag at the top, and a 3x4 state of Michigan flag below it. And Memorial Day, Monday morning, we buy new flags. And we always put our new flags up on Memorial Day weekend. So just a little tradition we do here. We like to fly the flag. It doesn't come down. A solar-powered light that shines on it. Because I'll tell you what, as bad as things are right now, and as frustrating as it's been, I would not want to be in any other country to deal with what happened and to be able to deal with recovering. I would not want to live anywhere else than here. And honestly, as bad as it's been, I believe, I love, and I appreciate the people of the state of Michigan. I think if any state can recover from the hole that we've been dug into, I believe it's Michigan people. And that's Michigan Democrats, and that's Michigan Republicans, and that's Michigan workers and Michigan business owners. I think all of us have a Michigan thing. I would bet against Michigan people. Even if we don't agree politically, if we don't agree on lots of things, I would tell you I would take a Michigan person in my corner any day. So I am proud to fly the American flag, very proud to fly the American flag, especially on Memorial Day. We fly it every day, it never comes down. And I'm very proud to fly the state of Michigan flag because, again, if I had to count on people, I'm pretty sure Michigan people would Michigan people are going to come back. I'm proud to be a Michigander. So anyway, there you go. There's a few little deep thoughts for tonight. All right, guys, have a great night. Thank you so much for your time. Again, just amazing that you guys do this for me. Again, I 100 years of 24-hour thank yous would never be enough for what you guys mean and what you do to us, or for me and my wife, and just the joy you bring. Just being here. You'll never know. Someday I will write a story about the COVID time. Someday I will dig deep into where I was when I started and where I am now. The last 8 weeks have changed me immensely in ways that are so, it's not even funny. I'm going to tell you, when this is all said and done, and we're close to being said and done, I'm going to say thank you for COVID 2020. I'm going to say thank you. It's been a positive thing in my life without question, and a lot of that positive is you guys. Just this time we have together. So anyway, all right, I'm going to call it a night. Thank you, guys. I'll see you back here tomorrow at 7 a.m. for Teaching Fishing Coffee Hour. Have a good night, guys.